Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today, I'm going to be back testing. I'm using TradeZella to be back testing, and you could say it's forward testing, back testing, whatever. I'm using an app that can mimic real-time trading so I can test different models and different ways of trading. This is something you need to be doing if you want to become a profitable trader. If you're not doing it, you're basically cutting yourself short from so many benefits. And I do this at least once a week. It takes up a time crunch, but I'm going to simplify it and do a shorter session with you guys today. Yeah, so let's get straight into the video. So you can see here I'm using TradeZella. I'm going to make the session called YouTube Vid Daily Profile. And the reason why I'm calling it Daily Profile is because I am using the Daily Profile as a main tool to catch my trades. What do I mean by that? I always stress that you need to use higher time frame a lot. Well, I'm going to be solely trading off of my daily profile, meaning I'm not going to be taking any shorts if it's not matching with my daily profile. I'm not going to be flipping bias no matter what. So I'm going to be trading the NASDAQ. So let's do MNQ because we're going to be doing micros. We're going to start our balance at 100,000. Our start date is going to be March 2nd, 2023, right? And then I'll fill that out with random hours. The end date is going to be April 2nd, 2023. And then I'm going to fill out the random hours and create their session. So again, I'm not affiliated with this firm, with whatever. I do like to clean up my chart before I get into my backtesting sessions. By the way, my camera's at like 40%, and I don't know how fast it dies. So if it dies, I'll fix it, but you might not see me. I might not see the camera be dead for 5 minutes. So there's a possibility that you will, have this video of me talking for 5 minutes with the dead camera. But I need to fix up my canvas, whatever, because I do not like grid lines. I do not like volumes. The color, I don't really care about. So what am I doing first? Well, I'm going to start the New York's AM session. So 9:30 is when I start trading. Now I'm going to go to the daily profile. See, I'm not going to look too far back because I will then know what's going to happen in the higher time frame basis because I've traded in 2023 before. But I need to jump up to the weekly chart just because I haven't, traded 2023 in a while. I need to get the basic understanding of our bias. So what we're looking at right now is that we have traded down lower. We took this low down here. Price action is turning rough. It broke a high, kind of broke structure, traded down all the way into a bullish fair value gap, and then is starting to trade away. So based off of this and respecting consequent encroachment, based off of this, I'm going to anticipate that we're bullish on the weekly chart. Now going into the daily chart, what day is today? Today is Friday. So again, that factors in. That factors in a lot into our trading. So I'm going to go to the weekly chart and see, okay, we're bullish, right? We already traded low. We already have the manipulation. We're just going to continue to go to our target. So with Friday, I'm looking for a continuation of our target. There's a potential that we have a pretty big day today, but all I'm looking at right now is these highs to get swept in low resistance liquidity run. Now, I'm pretty sure it could happen on a Friday. Fridays tend to be the continuation of the weekly session, and if you had a very undervalued, undermoved weekly candle, Friday could be a big day. So I'm going to target these highs, but there are also there's another high that I'm looking at, and that's right here because it's relative equal highs. So these two highs are my target. That's the first thing you need to do is identify targets and sweep of liquidity. You can see these relative equal lows. I'm going to make it red. We took liquidity, traded to higher time frame PDA rate, then it expanded higher. So I'm looking for price action to trade into a higher time frame PDA rate and move higher. I'm not looking for price action to take a form of sell side liquidity. Now there is engineered relative equal lows here, but I'm looking at this 15-minute fair value gap. Now going into that, I'm going to drop down to the 5-minute. Okay, 5-minute, again, we have some lows here, some low-hanging fruit, but my bias is bullish. Going to the 1 hour, we see that we're trading lower into this order block here. So what I'm going to be doing is marking out this 15-minute bullish fair value gap and this order block. Now, these are two things that I can want to see price action trade to, but generally start moving higher. So now that I'm on the 1 minute, I want to see price action break a form of liquidity and break structure. So We traded directly lower at 930, which is what? A sign of manipulation. Injection of volatility at 930. Now I'm looking for a shift in market structure. Now, I don't really need to see a high broken. I just need to see price start to change in trend, just like it is here. It's trading, it's breaking the SIBI, showing disrespect, completely ripping up higher. I'm going to jump to 2 seconds here because seconds count in the 1 minute. Now, it looks like it has some sort of rejection. It did not close above the SIBI, and there's no fair value gap. So I'm not comfortable taking this long just yet. Now, I might miss out on the trade, but that's okay. Now, by the way, my risk for these 100K, I treat them like challenges. The profit goal and regular 100K challenges on Top Step and Apex are 6,000. So, and our drawdowns, I think 3,000 or 4,500. So what I'm doing with an 100K is I am risking $500 with a $750 max daily loss limit. What do I mean by that? If I want to take 2 trades, I'll risk 500 on the first one, 250 on the next one. If I lose both, I'm out for the day. So again, you can see that price action has now officially traded away and broke structure. I'm trying to see if there's a fair value gap here. It's very small, but I'm going to get rid of this box here because we know that's a 15-minute bullish fair value gap. It is a fair value gap. Now, it's very, very small. I can't even drag it out. But price action is respecting consequent encroachment. So I'm going to pay attention here and look at price action and see, okay, I'm not going to take the long here, but if we break this high and possibly body up higher, I may take a long. So I'll put a stop at that low, anticipating that that's the final low. Now, majority of my profits are going to be taken at the 2.59 RR mark. But again, that's not my draw on liquidity fully. I'm aiming for this higher high, but that's 6 RR. That's a little bit greedy. I think that's for a runner. So what am I going to be doing here? I am going to be reacting and waiting for price action to react. Now, I need to calculate bias here. So 21.5. So I'm going to be risking $500 on this trade. 500 divided by 21.5 divided by 2. Now, that's 11.6 contracts. I'll round to 11. You always undervalue. You always round under and not over. Now, what time is it also? It's 9:40. So the macro is coming up, but you can see that we bodied above the SIBI. We traded into 15-minute fair value gap, and we're starting to trade up higher. If we jump to the 15-minute chart here, you can see that we traded into it, and there's a wick starting to happen. So I'm still a little bit confident in price action staying up higher, right? You can see that this 1 minute candle just formed. Oh no, never mind. That's my actual time right now. I wish you could see the time to the seconds. But you can see that we're starting to body here. So I'm going to take a long. So I'm going to put in 11 contracts here, and I'm going to put in a buy. Now, this is not everything. This isn't everything that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to put my take profit all the way to the extended runner that I'm looking for, 2.7K with a $500 risk, just a little over. But looking at this 15-minute chart, tell me this does not look like a very bullish reaction. So I'm using my hard time frame analysis to factor into my trading here. Now, what am I going to be doing first? So I'm not going to be journaling anything yet. I am going to say that's session notes. Sorry. I'm going to be going to trade notes in this long. I'm going to be taking a trade taking a long. Oh my gosh, I can't type right now. Taking along with a M15 fair value gap and was it M15 in a 1 hour order block. H1 order block as my higher time frame PD arrays. Also using the logic of Friday will continue the week's distribution to the upside. I spelled that wrong, but it's okay. Let's see how this plays out. It's like you're talking to yourself. That's all it is. It's like you're talking to yourself. So we're going to fast forward and see how price action is going to react. Now, this 1 minute candle looks to be closing lower, which I don't like. I need to see some sort of displacement here. If we consolidate in this range, I'm going to close. Now, again, I am a trader that takes losses. Every trader takes losses. Not every trader shows their losses. I do. So I am anticipating in this trade that I already lost $500. That's why I don't care if I lose the 500. Every trade you take, you need to expect that money, that stop loss is money taking out as an expense. So you can see we're getting a little bit of reaction here. A displacement above that high will kind of confirm this long, which is what we got there. We didn't get above that high, but I like what we're doing here. So I'm going to up it to about 10 seconds to speed up this process. And you can see we're turning up higher and we have our displacement. Now, at this point, when we break this high and we get up here, I'm not going to drag my stop loss to break even yet, just for the sole purpose of we can just body or something. But I'm going to drag it to a point where price action should not go, and that's these bodies low, this body low. Why? Well, if we look at the 15-minute fair value gap, that's below consequent encroachment. I don't think this 15-minute candle should go below consequent encroachment of that fair value gap again. It shouldn't even revisit. So break even is fine, but that it shouldn't go to. So that's money management. Now you can see that we're continuing up higher, but we are slowing down after taking buy side. So I'm paying close attention here. Okay, we're approaching my first partial. But what do? We formed a high, we traded lower, then we broke the high. Now this could potentially be a market structure shift. So ICT says once a high is formed here, if this high is broken, you want to either take a partial or drag your stop loss. I'm now dragging to just a little bit above break even to the most recent low. Price shouldn't go there. So I'm running away with $77 profit no matter what. Now, you might be asking, why $77? Why they're not up here? Because one, there's the unfilled fair value gap. It could go down and then higher again. Two, 77 is bigger than 0. Small compounded little profits like that actually add up over time. Do that 5 times in a row, and that's a big winning trade. I didn't mean to click on pause. But I'm going to slow it down here because we're about to get a partial. I'm going to count that as a partial. So I'm going to be taking 8 contracts off here. Sell 8 contracts. So I guaranteed $900 in profit, and I'm sitting on $300. Now I'm going to be dragging my stop loss because I took my partial all the way up to that low now. Because I took majority of my trade off, I'm not anticipating price to move lower. So I guaranteed $1,045 on this trade. That's a profitable trade. That's money management. So now we're going to up it to about a minute just to speed up this process and see how this goes. So you can see we had news at 10 a.m. I didn't know that. There's no Forex calendar here. But it looks like we're going down to my drag stop loss, and we did. Now let's see what happens. Price action actually trades down to my break even. So if I wouldn't have dragged there, I would have got stopped out. Does actually reverse up higher, which is very interesting. But I'm not affected by that. And look how long I would be waiting in this trade. Right? I actually wouldn't have hit my runner. Maybe, but I'm not going to wait in that. I took majority of my profits off in here. So instead of being greedy and not taking anything off on here, I took majority off here. I dragged my stop loss, so I made sure I got a little bit more profits. But instead of 6 RR, which is okay because it's a Friday, we weren't anticipating price doing all that, I got 2.67 RR on this trade. Now, this is a beautiful winning trade that you can find every single day. What I marked up on originally, you won't find every day, but to be able to catch those when you do find them, you have to leave a runner, but you have to take partials. So that's the first trade that we got. What am I going to do now? So I'm going to take a screenshot and show the original trade. I did not mark out the fair value gap. Hold on. Bear with me here, fellas. I'm going to mark out a very small fair value gap. I'm just going to mark out this inversion. We know there's a small fair value gap, and I'll write that. But I'm going to now take a screenshot of this, and I'm going to add it to my journal. I'm now going to write what the entry was. So I had a bullish bias from our higher time frame narrative. Knowing I'm looking for longs, I went to the intermediate time frame to find a PD array to react off of, then went to the 1 min to find confirmation in structure, which is the break of structure, confirmation in structure, and a precise entry. My keyboard, I was a professional gamer. I have a very sensitive keyboard because I needed to do fast action, so it's really hard to type with this. So yeah. Now, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be adding a tag. So good, correct risk management. Yes. Followed by yes. Good higher time frame use. Yes. Good patience. Yes. Longing in a discount. Let's see. Is this a discount? Well, for the dailies range, no. Or for that 5-minute range, for the session range, no. For our higher time frame target, because remember, in the daily, this might be our short-term target, but our higher time frame target's up here. So am I longing in a discount? Yes. You always need a higher time frame target. So I'm going to put this longing in a discount. Yes. And waited for manipulation. You can technically say that this was manipulation. Yeah, 930 manipulated lower, waited for manipulation. So I got majority of my good tags in there. Was there a large move prior to my trade? Not really, right? We didn't really have the biggest move in the AM. We had a decent AM, but there wasn't a large move. When I say that, I mean like, is there a crazy move? So I added my tags. I added the session note. I'm also going to add, I was looking for a higher draw, but since it was Friday, I took most off at my first target. Ended up getting stopped with my last bit of contracts at my dragged in profit stop loss. There it is. That's simple. That's one session completely, not session, that's one trade completely done. So what am I going to be doing? I'm not going to be trading anymore because I'm usually done trading by this time. Guess what? Next day. Let's look back. I just want to look back. Okay, boom. My higher time frame bias was correct. Now, I didn't know this going into this session. I didn't look back at this session just so I want to trade with you guys. This is my actual analysis that I did. And guess what? We did trade lower. I did get stopped out. I could have waited all the way till 1 p.m. to win that trade, but I'm more than happy with what I got here. Yes, could add 6 RR. Ended up with about 3. That's okay. Now, I'm going to now add that screenshot into the trade notes. Just to write it down. Because of, and it's in the bottom right that I'm typing here. It's hard to scroll. It won't let you scroll all the way down. Because of dragged stop loss, I missed out on my runner, but I'm happy with what I got. Again, because of my drag stop loss at break even or in profit, I did get stopped out. I saved myself from getting stopped out at break even, but it did end up going. I'm happy with this. Why? Because that means my draw was right. Right? That means my logic behind this trade was right. So this was a great trade. Now we're in the next session. You can see we moved a lot higher. This is Monday. Going into Monday, what do we have to do? We have to redo our weekly analysis. So you can see we still have not taken this bias. So I'm still holding my long bias. We did just displace on Friday. Monday's opening up. So what we can anticipate on Monday is either consolidation, and then Tuesday trades us lower into this fair value gap, and we move up higher. So this isn't really the highest probability day. Knowing it's a Monday, we do have a gap up here that we can draw to. I'm not going to be looking for a trade now because the video is getting a little bit long, but knowing that we just broke structure, we could either be doing two things. One, distribution and completely rip up higher, or 2, consolidating, then Tuesday trading lower into the fair value gap, then moving higher. So with this, I'm going to choose to cut risk. Instead of risking 500, I'm going to risk 250. Let's go to the next session and just see what would have happened. Boom. I was completely right. Look at that. Just by anticipating using the daily profile, I knew to cut risk. Now let's go to about the 5 minutes, see if I would have caught a long here. Well, 930 looks to have crazy time distortion. You can see complete chop at 930. We traded lower. We didn't really have a clean setup towards longs. By the time we did have a fair value gap fill like that, is right here at 1020. And when it did, it barely gave us anything without a clear target. So I probably wouldn't have caught an entry here anyways. And I choose to cut risk, but I technically chose to not even trade. Now, using Tuesday's bias, look at price action. Look how it closed down here. I'm anticipating Tuesday is going to trade into here and then move up higher. So the thing about trading is you're basically trading on the daily chart. And when you find your entry and your range on the daily chart, then you go into the 1 minute or 5 minute, whatever time frame you trade, and just try to find a piece of that trade on the daily profile. So I'm going to skip to the next session. I'm going to anticipate we either trade lower and close here or trade lower than trade up higher. Okay, we traded lower into the fair value gap. So I would have had a bearish bias on Tuesday, and that would have worked. Now, again, this is backtesting. The reason why I'm actually not trading these days is because this video is going to be too long. But in these days, what you're going to be doing is doing exactly what I did on Friday, trying to catch a trade, do exactly what you're doing and pretending like it's the real markets, and then writing everything down. But right now, I'm at the daily chart, and I'm anticipating that today is going to be bullish. So let's just skip ahead by the hour. And I'm going to anticipate that we're bullish today. Oh, well, Wednesday was a bullish day, but it wasn't as bullish as I thought it would. Now our target is back up at this high. Okay. Wow, completely wrong. But guess what? Because of that, I am now flipping my bias. So you won't always lose money with your daily profile being right or wrong. You don't always need to figure out if it's right or wrong. But what you do need to do is try to guess the distribution. I bet you on Wednesday and Thursday, there would have been something to tell me that we're not going up here on the lower time frame, but that's something you need to write down and figure out. But what I'm trying to get here, and it kind of sucks that I was wrong on that daily fair value gap, but what I'm trying to get here as my point is that you need to find a trade on the daily chart like you're finding a swing trade, and instead of taking that, use that as bias to where you're only taking the positions to your draw on liquidity. That's how I backtest. That's how I spend my sessions backtesting. I hope you guys found this video insightful, and I'm not really going to edit it that much, so there might be some word mistakes, but I hope it was fun to watch. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video, and I'm going to be making a lot more YouTube videos starting now, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Stay patient, manage your risk, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.